Something I heard this week that I've really been resonating with recently, or live a life. I think a lot of times we get caught up in like doing one thing or another too much that we forget to live our life, man. It's okay to play video games. It's okay to scroll on social media. I do a little bit of both of those things. And recently I've deleted a lot of my social media because I think that's one of those ones that tends to lead to a lot of overconsumption. But you got to really implement other things outside of that to really fully experience life, man. Get the full dopamine. I say dopamine a lot, but get the fullness out of it. You know, a lot of times I found myself today, even I wanted to kind of stay in after I worked a little bit this morning on editing and some other little side hustles that I got going on. I spent the morning doing that, but I got my day started by going to the gym, did some work, watched a little basketball, went outside, shot some basketball. But before I went to go outside, there was a part of me that just kind of wanted to sit in the house and play video games and watch more TV. And while that's okay, technically, because it's my day off, I think those are the kind of times or those moments are the moments that you got to kind of flip that switch, I feel like, and go the other way and push yourself to like get outside and do something active or a hobby that you've maybe let go that you wanted to improve at. Kind of double down on those and pursue that and have fun and enjoy that outside of just these indoor hobbies. I think personally it can be so much more fulfilling when you do that kind of stuff, when you are going outside and you are enjoying your life, other than just on a screen. So many times you can just get caught up in just like staring at screens the entire day. And it feels like at the end of the day, when you get through with your day and you're sitting there with yourself, you kind of feel a little bit gross. It's that feeling of like a little bit empty. Whereas for me, when I get outside and when I exercise and I've worked on something that's meaningful to me and, maybe I practice on, a hobby and gaming is a hobby, and I don't count social media as a hobby unless you're actually posting on there, making videos or something. Then cool. I'm all for that. But I think there's something to getting outside and doing somewhat of an active hobby, whether it be, basketball, fishing, paddleboarding, you know what I mean? Some of the ones I've kind of been thinking about doing something active, you know what I mean? I think those are the kind of hobbies that when you're done and you sit back down at the end of the day and you feel like you've exerted yourself a little bit, those feel good. I think those feel primal. I think there's something in the human conditioning, like we need that. I believe we need to be moving our body in a way that exerts some of the energy that we have built up, or you end up feeling kind of depressed or low on yourself. I think that's where a lot of these quote unquote mental health issues come from. And when I heard, the person say, live a life, I think it just resonated with me a lot because I feel like I haven't been so much. And there's been a few things that's hold me back, but a lot of it's excuses because at the end of the day, you can walk to the park, you can walk outside, run, I have a basketball court that's like not the best basketball court, but it's pretty close. So I can at least go shoot around, get my heart rate up, practice on my jump shot and make myself feel a lot better. Like I've have a whole cohesive, lifestyle rather than just sitting in the house on Apex all day, which I easily could do as well. I love Apex, but it's way more rewarding when I do other things outside of just sitting on Apex all day, because that dopamine is quick and it runs out fast. So it's one of those ones I really just want to stop and talk about for a little bit because I think it's important, to really live a life. I think that's something that we should talk more about. People should understand more, like, hey, get outside, get off your screen. And I'm sure it's been said, in plenty of different ways, but I think this one just resonated with me personally a lot. Live your life, live a life is important. I think if you can get out really and enjoy yourself out in the sun, and for some of you guys, it's probably pretty cold right now. Maybe you can find a cold weather activity though. It's if you live in, the Midwest or, the East Coast or something like that, where it is cold. I remember last year, before I moved south, I lived right off of a lake, and there was people who lived on the lake that would go outside and ice fish. And part of me didn't really understand like ice fishing. Really? But I think now I kind of get it. It's like you have to do something or you drive yourself crazy. And I think those guys had it right, man. Getting outside and going out and gathering those fish. And maybe they probably weren't even eating the fish, because I don't think it's a lake you eat fish out of. They probably were just catching them and tossing them. But there was probably something to that I didn't understand at the time. And now I kind of get like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, it's something. It feels primal. Even if you don't eat the fish, you caught it and you gathered it. Like, you got to see it. It's like, yeah, like that's what being a human is about, man. You got to be stoked about life. You got to be stoked about going out and enjoying yourself. So I just feel like I'm getting really. I feel passionate about this. I feel like this is an important part of life. It's an important part of being a human, is just doing stuff that's primal to your human nature. And no, I keep abusing that word primal, but I like that word a lot. I think I heard Santa Cruz say Santa Cruz medicinal. I think I heard him say that primal life. And it's something I've always kind of related to. If you ask my wife, she'll tell you, like, I joke about, it's kind of a joke between us. I always talk about how cavemen live. And I really think about a lot of things before I do them. I think about, how would the cavemen have done this? Like, do I really need to put this in my body? Was this what like humans really were meant to eat? Or do we really need like this, completely sterile environment? Were humans really meant for a completely sterile environment? Like, just little stuff like that makes me think about how long ago, primal cavemen, how they were living. Like, how are they living back, hundred thousands of years ago? Sorry. Because at the end of the day, it's while we think of modern humans as, being so developed and being important, it's like the modern humans only been for a few hundred years now. Whereas just maybe 1,000 years ago, humans were living completely different, much more true to their nature. Whereas now we think, like, yeah, we have it figured out. In reality, do we? Because probably we had been living for 10, 20,000 years in a much different way. And we have evolved into something quite a bit different. But the modern existence of humans has only been so very short relative to what the cavemen or the, even post cavemen. I'm getting a little outside of my anthropological knowledge here, so I don't want to sound like a complete idiot, but I do think that period of time had a much larger span than the current modern human life is. So you gotta imagine that a lot of those primal instincts and a lot of those caveman things are still left over, more so than we realize. So thinking that we need to put all of these like things in place to disrupt our hormones and disrupt the way we live, it's probably not the best. It's probably not how we're supposed to live. That's what I really got on that, man. If you guys are new here, give me a like, subscribe, all that normal stuff that people do, and come check it out. I do gaming streams. I like to talk about stuff like this. So if I'm live here on YouTube, come chat. Be doing these kind of talks. So I'll catch you guys next time.